What if one of the most powerful longevity protocols ever discovered wasn't born in a Silicon Valley lab or a biohacking conference, but practiced by over 1 billion people for more than 1,400 years? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the intersection of ancient wisdom and cutting-edge cellular biology. Because Ramadan fasting, when understood through the lens of modern metabolic science, is one of the most sophisticated repair systems the human body can undergo. And the science behind it will genuinely surprise you. Let's start with something that most people in the biohacking community are only beginning to understand. We talk a lot about intermittent fasting, about the 16,008 window, about time-restricted eating. But Ramadan introduces something far more intense, a period of dry fasting, meaning no food and no water from dawn to sunset. For most people globally, that's anywhere from 12 to 16 hours depending on the season and location. And here's where it gets fascinating from a science standpoint. When your body is deprived of both calories and water simultaneously, it doesn't just slow down, it shifts. Researchers call this state metabolic flexibility, the body's remarkable ability to switch its primary fuel source from exogenous glucose to endogenous fat stores and, critically, to begin using metabolic water produced from the oxidation of fat cells themselves. Your body essentially becomes its own hydration factory. That's not mysticism, that's biochemistry. Now, the cellular magic really begins around hour 12. At this point, liver glycogen stores are significantly depleted. Insulin levels have dropped to their baseline, and the body begins upregulating a process called autophagy, from the Greek meaning self-eating. This is your cellular cleanup crew. Damaged proteins, dysfunctional mitochondria, old cellular debris. Autophagy tags them, breaks them down, and recycles the components into fresh cellular machinery. Nobel Prize-winning research by Yoshinori Osumi confirmed that autophagy is not just a survival mechanism. It is a fundamental anti-aging process, and Ramadan fasting, by design, triggers it every single day for 30 days. By hour 14, something even more remarkable happens. The body begins secreting elevated levels of human growth hormone, sometimes spiking 300 to 500% above baseline in extended fasting states. Growth hormone is your body's primary tissue repair signal. It preserves lean muscle mass, stimulates fat oxidation, and directly supports cellular regeneration. Simultaneously, inflammatory markers like interleukin-6 and C-reactive protein begin to decline. This is the anti-inflammatory cascade that researchers have been studying in Ramadan fasting populations, and the data is compelling. Studies published in journals including Nutrition Research and the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism have documented significant reductions in systemic inflammation across Ramadan fasting periods. Then comes hour 16. For those in northern latitudes during summer months, this is the reality of the fast. At this stage, AMPK, adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase, is fully activated. Think of AMPK as the master energy sensor of your cells. When it's switched on, it inhibits mTOR, which is the growth and storage pathway, and it turbocharges autophagy, mitochondrial biogenesis, and fat oxidation simultaneously. This is the exact same pathway activated by metformin, one of the most studied longevity drugs in existence. Ramadan fasting activates it naturally, repeatedly, and in a rhythmic pattern that may have profound long-term implications for metabolic health, neurological function, and cellular longevity. But here's the thing, none of this works optimally if you break the fast with the wrong foods or prepare for it incorrectly. This is where nutrition becomes the difference between a healing protocol and a stress response. So let's talk about the 10 foods that the science says will maximize everything we just described. Starting with dates, and I want you to listen carefully here because there's a common misconception. People hear sugar and they immediately think dates will spike insulin and crash autophagy. The reality is more nuanced. Dates contain a unique ratio of glucose to fructose, approximately 50 to 50, alongside a significant amount of soluble fiber and polyphenols. The glucose provides rapid glycogen resynthesis to the liver, which is exactly what you need after 14 to 16 hours of depletion. The fructose, unlike refined fructose in processed foods, is metabolized slowly in the presence of fiber and actually helps restore liver glycogen without the aggressive insulin spike you get from white sugar or fruit juice. 2 to 3 dates at iftar is the protocol, not 12. 2 to 3. Next is avocado, and this one belongs at suhoor, your pre-dawn meal, without question. Avocados are calorie-dense, rich in oleic acid, which is a monosaturated fat that supports cell membrane integrity, and critically, they contain significant amounts of potassium, more per gram than bananas. During the dry fast, electrolyte balance becomes paramount. Potassium, magnesium, and sodium regulation affects everything from muscle function to cognitive performance to blood pressure stability. Pairing avocado with a small amount of sea salt at suhoor gives your body a slow-burning, electrolyte-rich fuel source that will sustain energy and cognitive clarity well into the afternoon hours. Raw honey is the third food, and the distinction between raw and processed here is not a marketing claim. It's biochemistry. Raw honey contains live enzymes, including diastase and invertase, along with prebiotics and a diverse array of polyphenols, including caffeic acid and chrysin. Chrysin has been shown in animal studies to support testosterone levels and reduce cortisol. More importantly, for our purposes, the natural glucose in raw honey provides rapid glycogen replenishment at iftar without the inflammatory load of refined sugar. 1 teaspoon in warm water at iftar before your meal is an elegant way to signal your liver that the fast is ending and nutrient absorption is beginning. Bone broth is one of the most underutilized iftar foods in the modern context, and it deserves far more attention. 16 hours of fasting, particularly dry fasting, puts the gut lining under significant stress. The intestinal epithelium, the single-cell thick barrier between your gut contents and your bloodstream, depends heavily on glutamine for fuel and repair. Bone broth is one of the richest natural sources of glutamine, along with glycine, proline, and collagen peptides that directly support tight junction integrity. Drinking a warm cup of bone broth before your main iftar meal effectively primes the gut for nutrient absorption and reduces the risk of digestive distress that many people experience when breaking an extended fast with heavy food. The fifth food is wild-caught salmon, and the science here centers on omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. Extended fasting increases cortisol, which is necessary for mobilizing energy stores, but can become catabolic if not modulated. EPA and DHA directly suppress the NF-kappa B inflammatory pathway and support the resolution phase of inflammation, meaning they don't just block inflammation, they help the body complete the inflammatory cycle and return to baseline. Including salmon 2 to 3 times per week during Ramadan supports brain function, protects muscle mass, and enhances the anti-inflammatory benefits of the fast itself. Sixth is extra virgin olive oil. This is non-negotiable in high-performance nutrition for a reason. Beyond its oleocanthal content, a compound that mimics the anti-inflammatory action of ibuprofen at the cellular level, extra virgin olive oil is rich in squalene and hydroxytyrosol, both of which support cellular membrane health and have demonstrated antioxidant capacity in multiple clinical trials. 2 tablespoons drizzled over food at iftar, never heated above smoking point, is the protocol. Seventh, and this one surprises people, is black seed or Nigella sativa. Referenced in traditional medicine for centuries, modern pharmacological research has confirmed that thymoquinone, the primary active compound in black seed, is a potent modulator of the NLRP3 inflammasome, one of the key drivers of chronic systemic inflammation. During Ramadan, when the body is undergoing significant metabolic stress and cellular restructuring, black seed oil provides targeted anti-inflammatory and hepatoprotective support. Half a teaspoon of black seed oil at suhoor or iftar is biologically meaningful. Eighth is fermented foods, specifically plain kefir or traditionally fermented yogurt. Autophagy and gut microbiome health are more deeply connected than most people realize. Research published in Cell-Hosted Microbe has demonstrated that the microbiome directly regulates autophagic signaling through short-chain fatty acid production. By maintaining a diverse, robust microbiome, With fermented foods rich in lactobacillus and bifidobacterium strains, you are actively supporting the cellular repair processes that fasting initiates. A small serving of unsweetened kefir at suhoor is strategic nutrition. The ninth food is walnuts. Walnuts are unique among nuts because they contain alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 precursor, alongside ellagic acid and a significant polyphenol profile that supports BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Fasting already boosts BDNF, which is one of the reasons people report exceptional mental clarity during extended fasts. Walnuts amplify this effect. A small handful of suhoor provides cognitive support, sustains satiety, and anti-inflammatory activity that carries through the fasting window. The 10th food is dark leafy greens, specifically arugula, spinach, or moringa if you can access it. These are nitrate-rich vegetables that support nitric oxide production, which governs vascular tone and blood flow efficiency. During fasting, when the body is in a state of metabolic stress, maintaining cardiovascular efficiency matters. Moringa in particular has been shown in multiple studies to reduce fasting blood glucose and support liver enzyme normalization, two outcomes that are directly relevant to the metabolic remodeling happening during Ramadan. Here's the bottom line. Ramadan fasting is not a deprivation protocol. Seen through the eyes of longevity science, it is a rhythmic, precisely timed activation of some of the most powerful repair and rejuvenation pathways in human biology. Autophagy, growth hormone secretion, AMPK activation, inflammatory resolution, and microbiome modulation. Every single one of these pathways has been independently validated in peer-reviewed research as central to human longevity and the prevention of chronic disease. The fact that this practice has been observed for over a millennium with such consistency and discipline suggests that perhaps the ancient world understood something about the human body that we are only now beginning to quantify. Eat smart, fast intentionally, and as always, optimize everything.